Maybe I've had it wrong this whole time. The Bad Batch may not be about the changing galaxy at all as the primary story. Stormtroopers being chosen over clones, clones regretting the orders they have followed. Well, that's what we want to see, and it seems like the larger story that would be told. But this season isn't doing that, and the main story isn't so much about those things. And that could be a good thing, because it's actually staying true to what Star Wars was meant to be. Family. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who got it wrong in the beginning. But the Bad Batch episode titled The Crossing really put things into perspective for me. When the episode became available for viewing, I read the description first, and it says the team tackles a risky mission on a hostile world. I thought, great, another side story for Sid. I mean, how many of these are there going to be? But as a person who doesn't judge a book by its cover, I put aside my thoughts on the description and started the episode anyway. And while the episode was another side mission for Sid, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I really enjoyed it. Before I continue, a quick word from our sponsor, and that's me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. Now, back to today's topic. Throughout the second season of The Bad Batch, I've been fairly critical. I admit that, but don't get me wrong, I am enjoying the show. I just thought it would be a little bit different. The first season brought in some great arcs that I thought would continue into the second season. Arcs like Order 66 with the escape of Caleb Doom, aka Kanan Jarrus, and the rivalry between the Bad Batch and their estranged mate, Crosshair. The destruction of Kamino was just heartbreaking, but in the second season, we have only seen a couple of those elements touched on. The stories have carried over, but they have been small parts of the larger story to be told. With the release of Episode 9, The Crossing, I am now looking at this season entirely different. Not in a semi-negative light as I was before, but with a new understanding of what the Bad Batch is about. Yes, clones turning on their Imperial leaders is part of the larger story, but it's more of a side story now. And that's okay. The changing galaxy and the meaning of the clones' lives have shifted, and it's only natural that the story of Clone Force 99 would do the same. Their story shifts. Maybe I should talk about the actual episode for just a moment, though. The Bad Batch is now making their way through the galaxy, silently, without echo. The loss of the man that was saved by the team on Skako Minor is felt throughout the episode, not just in the characters, but for us as well. There's a noticeable piece missing. When Echo left, we thought, good for you, buddy, go fight the good fight. But now, he's missed. His absence is noticed right away. As soon as the team step off the Marauder, it just seems unbalanced. There's a hole, and that's something we need to figure out how to adjust to. The now 4 members of the Bad Batch make their way off the transport and begin their first journey without Echo. The music is heavy. It tells us there's something off, not just the absence of Echo, although that could be the cause of it. No, it's Omega. Exiting the shuttle last and straggling behind, we can see the struggle on her face and her movements. She's hurting, and she's a bit of, a teenager about it. Not combative, but difficult. She's lost someone she considered to be her brother. When we look surface level, we would assume the episode is strongly about the mineral these folks are mining. An explosive mineral that, if not handled carefully, could cause the destruction of the Bad Batch. The team finds one small pocket of the mineral. They extract it without incident and leave the mine. But the mineral is merely a metaphor for Omega. When we see her exit the shuttle in the beginning, she's in the rear, a few paces behind Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker, silent. When they find the mineral, Ipsium, it's the same thing, alone. Silent is Omega, and so is the mineral. Not that a mineral makes sound, but it will if disturbed. And it's the same for Omega. She's small, alone, and fragile. Even though the Ipsium is in a mine once abundant with more pockets of it, it sits there alone. Omega is surrounded by her remaining brothers and still feels alone, unstable. Her instability shows when she has had enough of Tech trying to talk her down. She became disturbed, not handled with care. And although she didn't explode, she did have a moment where she snapped and wanted to be alone. Let's face it, Tech was kind of an ass to her. His tact is not one of a gentle nature. He's very straightforward. He feels this is the way it is. Deal with it and move on. But this doesn't settle well with Omega. How could he just move on from losing Echo? But Tech has a method to his reasoning. He's a soldier, and he has to respect the wishes of his fellow soldiers. Yes, he misses Echo, but he's happy Echo found his true calling with Captain Rex. The episode is probably deeper than any of the other episodes of The Bad Batch Season 2, and I know some people won't like that there isn't much action. There's no adversity with an antagonist. It's just the brothers and sister of Clone Force 99 bonding. But there are some key takeaways from this episode. For one, Hunter seems to be becoming more and more detached. Yes, he intervened when Tech was being less than nice to Omega, but overall, he just doesn't seem into it anymore. Then there's the Lion King stampede where Wrecker, leaps up to grab the tree but falls into the herd. Only this time the strong Wrecker, survives. And how many of you expected Omega to use the Force just before falling into the underground river? I did. I was kind of waiting for that. But it didn't happen. Then there's the abandoned village the Bad Batch came across. It seems deserted, but to me it looks really familiar. Almost like the village Ahsoka Tano was in during an episode of Tales of the Jedi, where she is confronted by an Inquisitor. Could the village have been, and its inhabitants have been, destroyed by the Empire for reports of helping a Jedi? I guess nothing's impossible in Star Wars. Remember, all is as the Force wills it. Another bit I found interesting is when Tech said this squad was formed before Echo joined it, or something like that. Ouch. I know he meant well with that line, but it could be taken as 1, Echo wasn't even a real member of the team, and 2, it existed without him before and they will continue to exist without him now. It's kind of a dick thing to say to a little girl who's grieving. I know he meant well, but like I said, Tech just has this straightforward way of looking at things. It is or it isn't. That's all. But the biggest takeaway from the episode is what I mentioned before, the way they wrote the mineral Ipsium in to correlate to the feelings of Omega. Small, alone, unstable, I've said it before. But adding to this is the fact that this is really the first time that we don't see Omega being 100% optimistic. She's sad, scared. And this is a huge shift in her character. Now, I would imagine she won't remain that way, and Tech's explanation of how he feels about Echo leaving should give her a bit more clarity and understanding. And I have no doubts that she will be back to her old self, wanting to help anyone in need very soon. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season, but I would really like to get back to Crosshair soon. He's one of the most interesting characters of the show, and he's only been in 1 episode out of 9. Dave Filoni's really good at leaving us hanging to the point we almost forget about what was before. Then, bam, it gets another look. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments. I love reading what you all have to say. And now, another word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. Until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.